Hey guys, or gals, should I say. So I am the co-founder of the Boss Woman community. Thank you so much for joining me. And I want to talk to you a little bit about resistance. So resistance is often the biggest factor getting in our way in terms of our mindset, our productivity, essentially our ability to do our life's work, live our life's purpose, and to accomplish those amazing things that we dream about, that we've set out to do, and that so many of us as women entrepreneurs are pursuing every day. So, what is resistance? Resistance is defined in a lot of different ways. Some people would see that as you getting in your own way. Others might see that as the voice in your head that says, I don't want to get out of bed, or I don't want to write that paper, or I don't want to follow up on that meeting. Just that urge to avoid something, deflect it, put it off till later, maybe procrastinate. It can also be the fear that you're not good enough, or that little voice in your head that's always criticizing you, saying, you can't do this, you're gonna fail, you're gonna look silly, people aren't gonna like it, people aren't gonna like you. All these kind of negative thoughts that seem to surface that seem kind of like someone else in our own head. So that is resistance. So now that we have a bit of an idea of what resistance is, what do you do about it? So, spoiler alert, resistance does not go away. A true creative knows that resistance will always be there. It'll be there tomorrow morning when they wake up. It'll be there 10 years from now. It doesn't matter if they make $1 million. It doesn't matter if they change 100 lives, 1,000 lives. It doesn't matter if they've spoken in front of groups hundreds of times. Resistance will still be there. And so it's not so much about getting rid of resistance, like, oh, we're just never going to have resistance again, we'll just completely do away with that. It's really more so about looking resistance in the face and saying, I see you, I know that you're there, and I'm going to do this anyway. So again, that could mean a lot of things. There's actually an excellent quote from Somerset Maugham where someone had asked him, do you write when inspiration strikes? Do you sit around and wait for inspiration to strike, or do you write anyway? And he said, well, I write only when inspiration strikes. But lucky for me, inspiration strikes at 9 a.m. sharp every morning. So a little bit of a joke here, a little bit of seriousness. And so essentially what he's saying is, I get up, I operate on a schedule, I sit down in front of my computer, or I sit down in front of my typewriter, or I sit down with a notebook, and I start to do my work. And I might not always feel completely inspired the moment that I sit down. I might not feel like have the highest energy, and I'm my healthiest self, and I'm in the best mindset, and everything in my life's perfect, because we all know that that's unrealistic. You don't just wait for perfection or wait for these times where it's the perfect moment to act on something. You have to be consistently acting on it day after day. So it's a little bit about just sitting down and doing your work. And it's also on the other side, meaning that if you sit down every day to do your work, inspiration will come. It doesn't mean that every single moment will be filled with your best ideas, but you'll be working towards it. And you'll be setting the stage for those epiphanies to come. So I really get a lot of joy out of that quote, and it really makes me think just getting out of your own way. Like, don't make all these excuses and have all these reasons why you can't be successful. Just sit down and do your work, and it will come. Benefits will come, the result will come, the finished product will come, and others will gravitate towards that because they will see that you are consistently working on your goals. You're consistently working to achieve your dreams. And that definitely inspires others to do the same. So, one other thing that I think is super important that I want to touch on about this topic is the principle of priority. So, what that means is knowing the difference between what's important and what's urgent. And so often we feel the need to do the urgent tasks first because it seems like they're pressing on us. That might be a text message coming through from a client or from a friend. That could be the emails that you need to check. Maybe the meeting that you're supposed to schedule, or that proposal that you want to get out of the door. All these things are urgent tasks, but they're not necessarily the most important. So the most important thing is your life's work. So for example, that could be me recording this video for you guys right now. That is the most important thing for me to do today. Doesn't mean it's the only thing that I have to do today, but it's the most important, so I'm doing it first. It matters to me. It's something that's in line with my life's mission, and it's something that's a huge goal of mine, and something that, of course, like any human, creates obstacles and opportunities for us to overcome those obstacles. So, handle the most important thing of your day first, and save the urgent things for afterwards, because I can promise you that you will not feel the satisfaction that you will feel from doing the important things when you do the urgent things. So, for example, if today I decided, you know what, I don't like the way that I'm looking today, or I'm not feeling confident, I'm not prepared, so I'm not going to record these videos today. Instead, I'm going to keep myself busy by sending out a proposal, getting caught up on my emails, and a couple of other tasks that are on my agenda. So what's going to happen at the end of the day is that, yes, I will have gotten some things done, but I will be beating myself up because I didn't get done the most important thing to me, to my fulfillment, to my happiness, and to my success towards my vision. So, just a little food for thought there. Always try to put the most important things for the beginning of the day, not necessarily the most urgent. And just a little bit of build off of that. For me, the morning is my high energy time. If that's not the case for you, I would still try to get the most important things done first. But if you know that the mid-afternoon, you are just balls to the wall, nothing but energy, just ready to go, then this would be an excellent time for you to accomplish that important task, because you're going to put 100% of your efforts and 100% of your attention into this. So, we acknowledge that resistance isn't going to go away. So, we're not going to be able to get rid of it. We kind of just have to deal with it. So, once you've looked resistance in the eye and said, you cannot stop me, I am more committed to my life's work than I am to the fear of what will happen. And this might be fear of failure. This might be fear of rejection. It could even be fear of success. I mean, come on, ladies. How often do we put doing something off because in the back of our minds, we're afraid of how awesome things might be when it happens. Or, oh, I'm not going to do that yet because that's going to mean more work for me and I'm not ready. Or I'm going to wait until, my kids are out of school. Or maybe you're going to wait until you find a different job that gives you more flexibility, and then at that time will be great. Don't wait for greatness. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, and all we have is the present. So every single day you need to be taking steps to act towards your greatness so that you can align with your life's purpose. So, what are a couple tips and tricks to kind of overcome this resistance? Let's see. Ooh, I got a good one. Don't take it personally. So what this means is it doesn't matter if it's failure or success, don't take it personally. You have to have kind of a level of, you always need to maintain a level of professionalism, because this is your life's work. This is serious business, guys. This is not a trial run. It's not like a rough draft like where you're doing it live. So if you're serious about your life's work and you're serious about your purpose and you really want to do something great and you are just ready to go, then you cannot be so tied to criticism. So for example, if you have a failure, it can't be like, oh, I failed this one time. It goes to show that me as a person cannot succeed as an entrepreneur. It means that I have no worth or value in the world. I have nothing to contribute. If you hear the tone of this, that's the difference between taking failure very personally and the alternative being, this didn't work out this time, but this was a learning experience. I had the opportunity to grow from this. Now I know what to do differently next time. Now I know how to pivot and to stay objective, to look at this and say, this didn't work for me. Or maybe this could work, but I did this and this that kind of flubbed it up for me, and I can adjust those things moving forward, and this can work a lot better. Keeping your head in the game, staying very objective about your work, and looking at it from a place of professionalism versus a place of taking things very personally is going to do wonders for you. And this doesn't just go for failure, this also goes for success. So how many people do you know that get just about to the finish line, whether it's in a run or something business related, they get just about to the finish line of accomplishing a goal, and then they're like, oh, I got it. I got this in the bag. So then they get a little cocky, or they get kind of, out of the zone, and then they end up kind of flubbing up at the very, very end, and then they don't reach that point that they were looking to accomplish. Or on the flip side, it could even be someone who did accomplish something and then they got so proud and so boastful about that accomplishment that it distracted them from keeping their head in the game, from staying with their eyes on the prize, continuing to work towards that. You don't want to be a one-hit wonder. Your life's purpose is more than one good track. This is a whole album, if not multiple albums that you want to come out with because, you're ready to crush it. A little Gary Vee reference there. So another really important thing in terms of a tip to overcome resistance is don't be afraid to ask for help. So often we're like, oh, like I got this, I gotta do everything on my own. Like that's what entrepreneurs do. They hustle, they figure it out, they work through their stuff. And that's true. We do. But what else we do is we ask for help. We lean into our communities, such as the Boss Woman community. We lean into our mentors. We lean into our resources. We lean into our friends. We lean into our family. And we ask for help. We communicate with things we're struggling on because there might be someone else that's an expert on this. And instead of spending 4 or 5 hours minimum researching something on Google, there may be someone who already has some guidance or can at least provide you with some resources that are going to give you a much more directed answer. So always ask for help. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. Don't let your ego be so big that you have to do everything on your own because you're isolating yourself. And not only does that make things more difficult in terms of like accomplishing tasks and getting things done, it also is more difficult on an emotional level. Like absolutely 110% if you have that mentality, because I myself have, succumbed to this before. And if you have that idea or that mentality that, oh, it's all on me, I gotta do this all on my own, like no one else is gonna support me, no one else is there for me, then it becomes very emotionally isolating. You start to put a lot of pressure on yourself, a lot of unnecessary pressure, and it's very unrealistic. So what can we kind of do about that? So I would say, ask yourself a few questions to say, am I leaning into my communities? Am I asking others for help? Or am I isolating myself? Am I feeling like I have to do this all on my own, which makes me feel overwhelmed, and then I put things off, I procrastinate, and then how can I break this cycle? And more often than not, asking for help is going to be the answer. So, let's see. That's about all I got for you ladies. I really hope that you enjoyed everything that I talked about. I also want to give you guys a recommendation if you want to learn a little bit more about resistance. I highly recommend this amazing book, The War of Art, Break Through Your Blocks and Win Your Inner Creative Battles by Steven Pressfield. He writes a lot of fiction and nonfiction. I'm so into this book that I've been getting everything I can from him, both fiction and nonfiction, and reading through it like crazy. He's also a screenwriter, really amazing guy, awesome life story, and the style that this book's written, it's very easy to pick up and put down when you want. So, for example, it's kind of like little sections like this. See all my notes here? Little sections like this, so you can just pick up and read a couple pages and then put it back down if, maybe like me, you're already reading 2 or 3 other books at the same time. I try to keep a fiction and a nonfiction so that I can kind of have one thing that if I want to ease my mind and wind down, I'll do a sci-fi or mystery or something like that. And then for whenever I want my business mindset books, I turn to stuff like War of Art, many other great recommendations to come for you guys. So my ask this week is that I want you guys to look in the mirror or hop on a video, go live, do what you need to do, and I want you to say, I am more committed to my success. I am more committed to my life's purpose than allowing resistance to get in my way. I am bigger than resistance. And once you make that decision and once you make that commitment, you will be surprised to see the changes that come in your life. So I'd love to hear from you ladies. Please drop some comments on this. Hit us in the Facebook group. Give us some feedback about this video and what your experiences were once you were able to implement some of this stuff. And we'll be looking forward to hearing from you. So thank you ladies so much for joining me. And again, my name's Lindsay Lawless, co-founder of Boss Woman Community. And I hope that you ladies have a fabulous week, an awesome day, and get out there and kick resistance butt.